Right now, I want to call our meeting to order, our regular town council meeting, mayor and town council meeting to order. And we will begin with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And also right now, if we could just pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. And I know we are all, we all have Ukraine and just the family residents, businesses. We have them in our thoughts and in our prayers. And I believe we feel for them and want this to end quickly, sooner rather than later. So as we begin, if we have any guests here tonight or any residents, guests that want to speak, this is the opportunity for our residents to speak. We give you 3 minutes to speak. You would just have to state your name, your address or business, and then address the mayor and council.
Good evening, Mayor Grant. This is Alberta Zagata from Pepco. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm sorry. Yep, I see your name. You're from where?
From Pepco.
Oh, Pepco. Hello. Hi. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Good evening. Just wanted to say that I'm on, and I'll leave my contact information in the chat. If you have any Pepco related issues or inquiries or street lights that are out, or anything that we can help you with, please feel free to contact me at your earliest convenience.
Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you so much, Mr. Barnes. Mr. Barnes is our town administrator. You know that you sent emails.
Alberto, hi, this is Rod Barnes, the town administrator. I just had a quick question. At one time, Pepco was looking at trying to get it so that the street lights in the communities that they own could be changed out to LED. Are they still, is that a program that is still being thought about? And is
Yes.
that something that might happen in the future?
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, in October of 2020, part of the multi-year plan that we sent up to the Public Service Commission, unfortunately wasn't approved. The LED streetlight program was part of that. I think there were some issues with a smart node that would be attached to those streetlights, and so I think now our regulatory team is putting together a package to go back to the Maryland Public Service Commission and try to get the LED streetlight program up and running again. So I believe we were going to be submitting something late this month or early Q2. But once once the Public Service Commission gives us a tentative green light, then obviously we'll get the talking points. I'm in government affairs. We'll get the talking points, and then we would go ahead and disseminate that information to all the municipalities, the different counties, etc.
Super. We just don't want it to get.
Yes, we're looking at it. Obviously, it would be a multi-year,
Yes.
plan. But yes, we're looking at it right now.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
I'm sorry, there was a question? Oh, Ms.
May I ask
Ferguson?
a question? Yes, thank you. I was part of the represented some of the municipalities in Montgomery County last time that this came up. And one of the issues that was brought up, and I thought the commission took very seriously, was the type of light, both in how the color of the light and also the different choices of the light fixture itself were available. And in particular, the color of the light, because most of the choices were blue light, which is not great for residential areas. Are they looking at that also?
So yes, answer is yes. You know, we definitely, you know, took all of those, you know, all of those comments that and concerns that were raised the first go round, and if I'm not mistaken, what we're trying to do is mirror a little bit what BGE is doing, our sister company. They actually have an entire department that's set up exclusively for LED street lights, and that's something that that Pepco Holdings PHI, which is Pepco, and then it's the Electric and Delmarva Power. We don't have that. So I think that was one of like the first the first issues that obviously came to our attention, because our sister company has a lot more manpower and they have a lot more resources devoted to it. And I think one of the things that we're looking at is to implement something similar, so that when we go back to the Public Service Commission this time, we'll be able to give a set amount of choices, a set amount of options, and obviously if it's for a commercial area, it could be something different. Obviously, if it's for a residential area, we don't want it to be too bright so that it affects people's homes. But at the same time, we have to balance that with with the safety concerns, right? Because there some communities, municipalities, quite frankly, they want the blue lights. They want as the more light, the better. To deter crime and things of that nature. So we have to balance that, obviously, and so I can't tell you right now how many options are going to be, but as soon as those options are finalized and given to us, we'll be happy to disseminate that to all the municipalities. So at some point, I'll reach out to most likely Rod or Mayor Grant and let them know, hey, these are this is the street lights, the LED options that we have available. And then maybe you would invite me, and then I could come in to one of your monthly meetings or a work session, and then present that information to the council and to the mayor.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you very, very much for that information, and appreciate you being here tonight. I don't see anyone else public, so we're going to move on with old business. And our old business is the final consideration of ordinance 2022-OR, allowing beehives in residential neighborhoods. And at this time, is there a motion on the floor to approve beehives in our neighborhoods?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Is there a second?
I'll make the second.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay. So that motion is approved. And the next item, which is new business, is the approval of our minutes. And I'll list the minutes. It's the minutes from the virtual February 1st Town Council work session, the minutes from our virtual February 9th Town Council regular session, and minutes from the virtual February 9th Town Council closed session. Is there a motion on the floor to approve the minutes for those dates?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Second,
Second.
Ms. Chester, was that you?
It was Turk.
Okay. And all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Looks like everyone said aye. All right. Motion approved. And the next item is the introduction of ordinance 2022-OR-02 to establish a speed monitoring system. Is there a motion on the floor to approve this introduction of the speed monitoring system?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Ms. McCulley. Second.
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you are on a roll tonight, and all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All right, that has been approved. The next item is the consideration of mosquito spraying by the Maryland Department of Agriculture beginning February the 25th through September 30th. Is there a motion on the floor to approve mosquito spraying for those dates? Thank you, Ms. McCulley.
Why not? I guess everybody kind of feels the same about this dispute.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Johnson, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you, Council. Motion approved. All right. The next item is our Police Department report. Chief Gibson.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, I just wanted to share our monthly statistics for the month of February 2022. With respect to Part 1 crimes, there were no homicides, there were no forcible rapes. There was one felony assault. Apparently a gentleman pulled a handgun on a worker at one of the shops in the 5100 block of Buchanan Street. We have a picture of the individual, but we have not named him yet. And as soon as we do, we'll be getting an arrest warrant for that particular offense. There were no burglaries. There were no auto thefts. There were no simple assaults. There was one theft, and there were 3 theft from autos that occurred during the month. A couple of vehicles were entered and tools were taken out of the body of the vehicles. During the month, there were 5 crimes reported in the town of Edmonston. With respect to incidentals, during the month of February, there were 29 parking tickets written, 110 moving tickets. There was 1 traffic arrest. There were no criminal arrests. We had 152 premises checked during the month, 104 traffic stops. We had 46 vehicles impounded. There were 222 calls for police services. With respect to our red light camera program, there were 62 citations recorded for the month. With respect to code compliance, during the month, there were 4 municipal infractions written. There were 40 violation warning letters sent out. No stop work orders, 4 vehicles were impounded, no rental inspections, 30 parking tickets written through code compliance. Homes and businesses inspected, there were 25. And lastly, there were 15 code violation follow-ups for the month of February. Just going to touch on a couple of other things that we've been working on. The town has purchased a noise meter. I know you all want to hear that. And Eric has been trained. He's been interacting very closely with the code enforcement folks from Laurel. So we do have a brand new noise meter in town, and we're going to make it a point over the next couple of weeks to train our new part-time code compliance person as well. And just for the record, for those of you that did not get to hear from, Anna Romero was hired as our part-time code compliance person. They are scheduled to start on March 14th, Monday, March 14th, 2022. We've been talking about this bicycle initiative. So we're purchasing 2 brand new bicycles, and we've already refurbished one of the bicycles that's probably, I don't know, 3 years old. We've had new brakes, new tires, new rims, new seats, and bags, and all of those other things. And, you know, I will share with you as soon as those bicycles are in-house. We have one officer that is already trained to ride the bicycle patrol, and we got to get a couple of others trained up. So week-long training is pretty arduous for the average individual. I think they take 30-mile bike rides, a couple of, you know, riding up and down steps and hills, and a lot of other different types of terrain. So that's a work in progress. And a couple other things. I don't know if you all been hearing from some of your constituents, but a family was evicted from 4809 Hamilton Street, and all of the contents of 4809 were put outside the house. Some of the furniture is out in the street, and it's all over the front yard and in the driveway and on the side of the house. So, you know, the bank promised us they would clean it up. They assigned 5 workers who have gone in, and, you know, we see their efforts, but it's a work in progress because of the large amount of debris, trash, furniture, and, you know, appliances. So that too is a work in progress. So if some of your constituents should call you about it, we're aware of it. We're working closely with the bank to try to get those things cleaned up. And hopefully in the next couple of days, it will be a non-issue. I hadn't received the information, but Ms. McCauley informed us that the house had gone into foreclosure, and then they evicted the resident. Lastly, over the past 24 hours, one of our residents, a young man by the name of Quentin Irby, was missing. And he was missing for over 24 hours. And he lives in the 4700 block of Hamilton Street. Well, this morning around 4 o'clock, he came back home. He suffers from autism, and so there are some challenges communicating with him, but we were able to talk to him, make sure that he's safe and doesn't have any other issues as a result of his being missing. We do not know exactly where he was doing this previous 24 hours, but he seemed to be in good health. One of the officers noted that he had a hospital wristband on his arm, and I'm not sure what facility it represented, but we noticed that during our conversation when we went to his house this morning to check on his welfare. So aside from that, I think that is all for the police department's reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Council, are there any questions or comments to the chief's report? Ms. McCall.
The only comment I have to make is that Mr. Barnes gave me the heads up on the eviction going on. I knew the gentleman had told me that he was being foreclosed on. But Mr. Barnes gave me the heads up, and I went down there to talk to the resident, you know, and then sent some pictures back up to Mr. Barnes. So he gets the credit for giving me the heads up.
Yes. All right, thank you, Mr. Cullen. Thank you, Chief.
All right.
All righty, as we, oh, and Chief, thanks for just publicly, we don't have too many people in, but publicly, thank you for leading the way and getting us the part-time code enforcement officer and the administrative assistant too. And also Mr. Barnes in your assistance in that, because it took two. So thank you very much. And with that, Mr. Barnes, if you'll give us your report.
I'll be brief, Mayor. We're on a roll, it seems like. Just a reminder, we received a grant from the Chesapeake Bay Trust for rain gardens over on Hamilton Street. We're very excited about that. It's through the Prince George's County Stormwater Management Program. It'll be, once these are completed, we'll be almost at 50 rain gardens here in the community. So certainly our efforts to treat stormwater and to make the Anacostia eventually in Chesapeake Bay area cleaner, we're certainly doing our part. So great on that. Our intern Bethany from the Conservation Corps was successful. They do a program with their 32 participants every year where they allow them to submit grants to do what they call as all hands on deck project in their work areas. And so she teamed with the Conservation Corps volunteer over at Eco City Farms and was successful today with receiving that, and we'll be hosting 32 Conservation Corps members in July. They're going to build a meditative garden at the end of 51st place, or yes, 51st place. We already have some garden area there. They're going to put in some benches, a water fountain, a water feature, and other trees, and they're all going to accomplish that in the day, then do some work at Eco City, and then in the day with go-kart racing at the go-kart track. So should be a fun day, and we're excited. First time we're hosting this group, so we're very excited. We are in America in Bloom this year. Our advisors have been assigned to Karen Ringel and Nikki Springer. They will be here June 23rd and 24th. So you'll be hearing from us, and we hope that maybe Councilmember Turberville will allow us to host a old-fashioned Maryland crab feast in her backyard for that.
As long as I can partake, yes.
So that will be a fun summer event. The Maryland Municipal League registrations came out last week, and so I'll be registering all those that have agreed to participate in that. And again, that's a little earlier this year. It's in June versus, June 12th. Middle of the month versus the end of the month. So keep that in mind. Our budget hearings start next week. Tuesday night is our first one. I'll have the books out to you on Monday, and we'll just keep adding to them. So keep that in mind. Our spring dumpster day is 1 to 3 p.m. on March 26th. That time is coming up fast. We're starting to advertise. The newsletters going out next week. And then the other big event for the spring that Avery is working tremendously hard on is the Spring Fest Caravan, and Bethany's working on the Arbor Day component. In the morning, we're going to be giving away and planting 50 trees. And in the afternoon, we'll be traversing through the streets with our Easter egg caravan and spring festival celebration. We'll also have a documentary going on that day in the park with the arts folks. So they will be talking about that. Oh, I do want to tell you all also that our art gallery is going to be featured on one of the local TV stations the end of March. China and the Operation Arts folks are going to be conducting that interview. And then second of all, Mayor Gant had suggested we submit for Spotlight on Maryland program that the League is doing this summer instead of some of the other things they're doing. And so we were one of the communities selected across the state of Maryland to be featured in the Spotlight on Maryland. And the communication company from the League will be in town doing that video that will be promoted for the rest of the year on the Maryland Municipal League, and at the will be unveiled on the carpet, I see, in a red carpet event at the league conference. So very excited that we are going to be able to be featured in that particular activity. And then just, I mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention again, the economic development study is moving along. It is, the next step is they've held the public component. Now they want to work with you all in the erase boards and all that through the video. And so that is on the 24th of March from 6 to 8 p.m. I'll keep reminding you and sending that information out, but it's very important that you participate in that particular activity. And I believe that I've covered most everything. We do still have meals happening on Saturdays from the church. They are distributing, and I don't know what size crowd they're receiving. Mayor, since I haven't participated in it for a little while, but I hope that they're still able to help those folks that are in need.
Saturday distribution, is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is going strong. Absolutely. I think I'm so glad we're one of the host sites. And thank you for that short, brief. I'm being sarcastic.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Barnes, you said 51st place, is that with a project, is that dead end?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Where Miss Barb is.
On the corner.
Mhm. So we are doing a whole bunch of work, and thank you, and Miss Avery, for all of what you're doing and the support you give to all of us, that's for sure. Anything else? Any questions from the council? Nope. All right. So council members, if you have anything, it's time for council dialogue. Anything to report? Any?
Nothing to report.
Nothing?
Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
Well, I didn't really have too much. The only thing I have is the same that Decatur Street, Kenworth Avenue, that's still an issue as far as I'm concerned. But State Highway says it's not. But to me, and what I observed, I think it's still an issue. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Chester, did you have anything?
Just that I had a couple of residents volunteer to help out when we did prepared for and then hosted with the hope that we would have some participants in the economic development focus groups in Spanish. And so even though we didn't have any residents check in for that, it was, I think, a really good exercise just to make sure that we made all of those resources available in Spanish and made the opportunity available. And then it was nice to have a couple residents also willing to help out and go through the training that we had to go through to use some of the technology for getting people's feedback if people had checked in. So
You said they objected?
what was that?
You said they objected?
No. They volunteered, and then we had to go through this training to use the software so that we could record people's feedback if people had called in. They had some really interesting software they were using to collect that kind of feedback from people, but we had to be trained on it. So.
Cool. Thank you, Ms. Chester. Ms. McCauley or Ms. Tuberville?
Chief, I want to say thank you for getting the noise meter and getting Eric trained, and I'm sure that meter is going to be well used this spring, summer, fall, winter. Well, thank you.
Especially summer.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Ms. McCauley. Ms. Tuberville?
I don't have anything to add this evening. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I think I sent, I know I sent it. I sent it today or yesterday about we are still in District 5. Yay! So thank you for your passion and your feeling, and thank you, Ms. Tuberville, for just giving your statement, and it was greatly appreciated, and it was thrown out. Yes. And I want to say it's such a shame that it had to go that far when you had so many people that said, don't do it. But sometimes that's what it takes, you know? So good actually came out on top this time. So we're in District 5. And then also I wanted to mention.
Mayor,
that,
they lost on a technicality in the courts, but we'll take it, I guess, right?
However, yeah.
That, you know,
Yes.
that's the only way to beat a case like that is on process.
Right.
Technicalities, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
I know Sarah has to know that.
You know, but we'll put out some lofty principles, you know, out there about how courts are safeguarding our democracy, etc. And the good guys won this one.
Yes, 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 yes. And soon we'll have to have the discussion. That I'm happy about this, but soon we'll have to have the discussion about Bates, our trash company. I think their contract is ending soon, Mr. Barnes.
Correct. It's getting ready to go out for bid. It'll go out next week. You'll be having those conversations in April. With that, we have 2 other companies interested, so that's exciting, and we'll see what we get. There was some change that occurred with Bates. They did a subsidiary, or they did a break off of their commercial dumpster business to a different company. So if someone calls into Bates, they tell them they don't do that business anymore. But Mr. Bates has assured us that it's still a component of Bates, just they're doing some different way of handling it. So it impacts us on the 2 6-yard dumpsters over at Elizabeth Landing and the one here at Town Hall. And the last few weeks, at least, it's been difficult to get it emptied, but hopefully they'll start improving as they get the routes more familiar.
Rod, did I see like Riverdale Park seems to have a new?
Yes, Jedi.
Yeah, Jeddah. Yeah.
Or Jeddah. It's not Star Wars. But yes, and that's one we hope that's going to be interested in us. They're a very small company. We had Republic stop by the other day, wanting to make sure they got a proposal. So that's another good viable company.
Because wasn't the problem before that like we couldn't get anybody else to bid?
Correct.
Or something?
Correct.
Okay, great. That's great news.
Yeah, I don't think we're there anymore at that place. So that's good. So it's just something for us to discuss later on, and also for us to pay attention to this type of service that we're receiving from them. Bates tends to go up, and then their customer service and their service drops, and then back up again. So I see it dropping. So let's just pay attention to it. I'm sure they'll be. All right. And really, that's all I have, other than the fact that they're doing some work. Okay, Chief, I see. Other than they're doing some work on the Peace Cross, I think if you haven't driven by there, that's a good sign. So I'm glad to see that. Chief?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I wanted to let Mr. Johnson know that I heard him loud and clear about Decatur Street and Kenilworth in the pedestrian crosswalk. For the foreseeable future, at least once or twice a week, we're going to be conducting operations at that intersection. And I'll let you know specifically what day and what time, so you can watch and see how we do this business. During the winter months, we don't have a lot of pedestrian traffic that crosses over Decatur from one side to the gas station side. But for the foreseeable future, we're going to be doing operations because it does happen. I agree with you. And I'm sensitive to that when you share the information. I've already alerted the officers. So we're putting together a little plan, and I'll let you know what day and what time we're doing this. You can watch how we go about testing folks yielding right away to pedestrians already in the crosswalk. So I appreciate you sharing that. Okay. And lastly, to you, Ms. McCauley, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come in and deal with that arduous process of interviewing several individuals. And those of you who have sat in on interviews know it's a long day, waiting your turn, asking 100 questions, trying to identify the right candidate for these open positions we have in the town. So I just wanted to let everybody know, one, that you participated, and two, that you did an outstanding job. So I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
All right.
Thank you, Chief, for that.
All right.
Appreciate that. Yes, Mr. Barnes.
A quick note, I know everyone is putting up with the water main replacement project, and I know it's inconvenience. If you do have any problems or questions, please refer them down here. We have numbers and direct lines to people that can help address whatever issue it might be. I've dealt with a number of things, particularly in the commercial areas. I haven't had a lot of complaining from the residents. Say they seem to know what's going on, other than some parking issues. That is. So thank you for being, this is here for a couple of years. So remember that, keep that in your back of your mind, that this is what we're going to have to live with. But in the end, we're going to have wonderful improved system, and hopefully no main breaks. The hole that Washington Gas created when they repaired the gas line at the 51st place in Decatur, I finally was able to chase down my contact with the construction company. They have it now scheduled to repair. So you should see that repaired in the next week. We keep adding cones, but the cones keep getting run over or knocked over, but the hole keeps getting bigger. So now they'll be there to get it repaired.
Good.
Mr. Barnes, I got a quick question.
Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
The work that they're doing, okay, I think they just finished up on 49. How come they only did half the street, as far as because they only did half the work instead of patching it? Why didn't they just go ahead and do the whole street as far as repaving it?
They will. That's a temporary patch repairs that they do, because they're going to come back and be putting in connections to all of the, from that main, they're going to put connections out to each side of the street for the homes. And so their intent is they'll, in the end, when they're, you know, all done with the work on the street, they'll pave it curb to curb.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, because it looked kind of sloppy.
Yeah, they're just doing temp patch at this point.
All right. Thank you for your comment.
That's all I have.
All right.
Excuse me?
I said thank you for your comment.
Oh.
If there isn't anything else, if we don't have anything else on the agenda. So if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. And again, welcome Ms. Daria to the Edmonston family.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And,
I'll make the motion that we adjourn for the evening.
thank you so much, Ms.
I'll
McCall.
second it.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. All in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Good night.
Bye.